And welcome to Joy News today. We're live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125 across all our social media handles. We are Joy News on TV. Coming up within the next 60 minutes, Speaker of Parliament Afenyo-Markin's declaration of 4 seats vacant, shifting the balance of power in the House with the governing New Patriotic Party, now the minority in Parliament. Court's mixed reaction. Would hear from the NPP side of the House. They have declared that they are boycotting sitting until the Speaker actually rules on what they want to. We have a teaser for you.
As our first step, because of the chaos he has created, we have boycotted parliamentary sitting.
Well, the Speaker of Parliament has already made that declaration, but what will happen to the case in court? We'll give you updates as to when we have that. We'll also be in some affected constituency and also in the bulletin. Presidential candidate of the opposition National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, vows to review Saglemi housing deal as he cites lack of discussion and negotiation with local landowners. And later in the bulletin, the Ministry of Education insists that the new curriculum is the way to go after stakeholders complain about the shortening of academic time.
There has been efforts by the Ghana Education Service to harmonize our academic calendar, or if you like, say, streamline it to be able to reverse back to the old normal.
We have business news, sports updates, as well as showbiz within the next 60 minutes. My name is Faustina Safo. Please stay for details. Thanks for staying with us. Now, members of Parliament on the ticket of the governing New Patriotic Party say they'll boycott sitting pending a Supreme Court ruling. This is after the Speaker of Parliament, Afenyo-Markin, declared 4 seats, 3 on the MPP and 1 on the NDC side, vacant after incumbent MPs filed to contest as independent candidates, while leader of the NPP side, Afenyo-Markin, spoke earlier in Parliament.
Trouble in the House. As our first step, because of the chaos he has created, we have boycotted parliamentary sitting. Second, we are going to vigorously pursue our matter in court. We believe in the court, and we are going to pursue our matter in court until the court determines the matter. If the court makes a determination that indeed, per the provisions of Article 97.3, if a person, upon being elected a member of parliament on a particular ticket and decides to contest future elections under another ticket, that person will lose that seat, so be it, would abide by the rulings of the court. So, we'll stay back and not want to participate in the chaos in the chamber created by Mr. Speaker. Meanwhile, we have become aware that the injunction application has been overtaken by event. We are lawyers. We know what to do. And we'll be fortified by the law to look for another process to ensure that the right things are done.
Afenyo-Markin there speaking earlier in Parliament. Well, political scientist at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Machi Boateng, has been analyzing the situation. He spoke earlier on Newsdesk.
If we limit ourselves to, if you like, the positives for the legislature, I believe that they are going to be impressed upon to address themselves closely to the national interest and to serve the public good. Simply because we have elections, staring at us. So if you don't behave in ways that indicate that you are not necessarily taking undue advantage of this to serve a partisan interest, I expect that to backfire and I expect citizens to react to that. Come December when we go to the polls. Well, before the ruling of the Speaker, I had the opportunity to relate to the issue, and I told myself that a common sense interpretation of that provision in the Constitution will have to take out time as a factor, and also will have to take out the outcome. Irrespective of the nature of the outcome, the Speaker will have to look at the provision as it is, and that the provision emphasizes the locus of members of Parliament at the time of such incidents. And to me, the Speaker did so. I don't see any partisan, if you like, consideration in the ruling of the Speaker.
Well, one of the affected MPs, Cynthia Morrison, let's take you now live to our constituency, Agona West, and just get some reaction from constituents.
How Niamani Nukadanda and I am say Abato Agona West, and I'm say Obiara Office Sebi, where you Yasia and Yasi Bianiji. They say, I already saw where Yasi or Mapa Nature Yasi, a Yasi, into Obaya then when you Yasi Biani, into the idea how young Ayate Tema Agona West, already and Punto and Kankono, a Besanichi. Idea say, I am Agona Maitu Pono, and Yadi Benabu, and I'm say, ye member of Parliament, Obaka Copper, the Popular Parliament, Abba Agona Western, Oma Pamano, Yemi MPBA, or the idea, how I give you.
And Yasempa, and so. Abanadin Abba, and I said there were any man, yes, sure, because there are Papa Fasta, Nintendo, and Abasabasa, Yabaya, Amatisia, Yawaha Union, Nurse Adenia to you. Said the Yabenia, Openibia, Obetumi, the Union year, and fear way into me in Cobanisi, which is Sianate. My and a shiny Abashin, sir, but where they between Padima, Obedi, and say, a Posoma. Agona West constituency the Juma about to natural. But I don't know what's it mean. Yes, sure, say. You quite say over to and I Speaker of Parliament, when you quite say over to declare, say, a year vacant. Sana is an attitude of a member say, when you quite so be declared as vacant, say, Agona West, and I say for Mena and whatever it is, a year vacant. I don't know, send a woman go to work Canada, any else you go to a team, if they were declared, say, I want to have a chance there. Still, I will try a Juma. No, baby, I know. You're supporting me, Jumana Apaso. Oh, instead, I'm sure say I'll have it to my back because we are more or less 1 month to election or less than 2 months to election. I don't think so.
Away from Agona West, let's take you to Fomna now and just get the sense of what the residents there are saying, because now they lack representation in Parliament.
I am people are memoir come go for education, go for education. I know that be CJHS, I make my copy, every JHS acquires. It's a toilet not a man. So we tuna be ya. Acquire a gusu a hiding royal and the enemy. So we tuna be ya or be tuna be ya. Really pay for gas.
Because papa no boy, ye who MPP a wa baha de enyan. Nneema oyɛ ma yɛ ho bie wɔyɛ nneema bebree wa me nsuo wɔyɛ yɛ kwan yɛ street nyina wɔyɛ yɛ ma yɛ papa no de wa ma yɛ nkora nyina nyɛ dwuma yɛ papa no de yɛ te sɛ yɛ yi na komnya se nkyɛn no ɛha yɛ paa me am gyina ha yi de ɛha me paa sɛ mpanimfoɔ nyɛ mmoa no sɛ ko mu nya no mo nyɛ na dwuma ko mu nya no so no so ɔmo so ɔmo nya yɛ de yɛbɛsa gyina independence no biem ama papa no asa aba yɛbɛsa gyina dadwen yɛbɛgyina ama papa no asa aba wɔso wɔyɛ nnwuma nnwuma a wɔyɛ so yɛ ni
they will feel like when they have baby papa no because we have money waboa papa okuro yi mu me hu mpipia wa ba ma wa ye nnwuma se sa papa no da to obi go nya me feka se ye ni papa ni tinchen ba ko di ntro waboa ye ya se no wo ye papa ye ka ana ye mo ni so ye ka media lawyer de obebuwa ye e di akonya no wo tell the better to ama me na to man
It is one just one coin independent na na so. Okay.
Once uncle, you need people name my ye fellow, ye better man.
Let's go to Eric Asante now, back in the Agona West constituency. He has been engaging constituents there. We heard from some of them. Just give us a sense of what the sentiment is there in that constituency. You have to unmute for me to hear you clearly, Eric.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. You've been engaging some of the constituents. What's the sense they are giving you over there?
So depending on one's persuasion, supporters of the NDC, they argue that the speaker decision follows precedent, and it will help with the, with their party going into the 2024 election. They say that they take inspiration from the fact that they are now the majority in parliament. In contrast, members of the ruling MPP, and they say the decision has compared. Many of the supporters feel the MP in question has been disingenuous and has betrayed the party in going to the 2024 election. They argue that the fact that Cynthia says that the party, there were machinations to, as it were, make sure she doesn't go through the primary. They say that the fact in the constituency doesn't suggest that. Remember, Crisato won by 240 votes, whilst Benyamwa won, garnered 221 votes. Yosingotu had 169, and Cynthia had 155. So to most of these MPP supporters, the constituency, they believe that there were no machinations to what Cynthia Morrison's quest to stand on the ticket of the MPP. So they think that Cynthia has been disingenuous and has betrayed the cause of the party in the constituency.
Thank you, Eric Asante. Well, let's shift our attention now to the camp of the NDC. John Dramani Mahama, the flag bearer of the party, yesterday, he's been sharing his thoughts about the shake-up in Parliament. Now, he feels that the wind of change is blowing, and what we are seeing in Parliament is just a tip of the iceberg. Maxwell Gwagwa is with the NDC presidential candidate. He joins us live with more. Maxwell, he's also been talking about the giving out of Saglemi housing project to a private developer. What would he do should he become president? Maxwell, you have to position rightly for us to hear you clearly. Unfortunately, we don't have clear connection to Maxwell Agbagba. We're just giving you a sense of the reaction coming through this time as a result of what is happening in Parliament. We told you earlier that the majority, now the minority, they have decided to boycott proceeding in Parliament until further notice. They're waiting on the judgment from the Supreme Court. They say that until that case is determined, they would not be attending any sitting in Parliament. And we're just getting a sense of reaction from individuals. Maxwell Gbagba is embedded with the John Dramani Mahama campaign team. He joins us live with more. Maxwell, what can you report?
And after the news broke yesterday, every place where he has visited since yesterday evening, he makes reference to that and says that it is a sign of the NDC's victory in December. Key amongst the things he's been talking about here is the establishment of the National Women's Development Bank. He's also been talking about the retooling of the security agencies if he's elected as president. He's also been talking about a market enhancement program that he says would improve all of Ghana's markets if he's elected president. We can listen to what he's saying right
Police station here, I was a presiding officer now, or declare results now. It's all kind of NDC nya say, MPP nya say, Ekwiadonko nya say, Ana Yarga nya say, enti wohwe aba ya kan no ene NDC ene edi nkunim e wo police station ha. Enti all yes declaration ni nyina wo dey you phone na so video no na video no ɔtwerɛ pink sheet no so wie a mmara no sɛ ɔmfa baako mbɔ dan no ho nti ɛno so na wode wo camera na watwa mfoni sɛ na ɛbɛyɛ a ɔkyena obi ɛkɔsesa wo polling station results a wobɛka sɛ hwɛ video no ni ɔdeclare results no wei na ɔdeclare nti wei ntimi nya mpa Eza enti wokɔ a ballot paper no ɛte sei ɛbɛyɛ sei nipa 13 ɛna ɛwɔ so for now nso ebi bɛba abɛka ho enti wokɔ a nea wohwehwɛ a ɛne akatawia no mɛnhwɛ bibia mɛnhwehwɛ number 8 mɛnhwehwɛ memfoni wode ahwehwɛ baby akatawia no wɔ nafa wei no wo kokromoti no na wode team ink no na wode team ha ɛno ano no wayɛ adwuma awie enti sei na ɛteɛ na wotim wie a mepaakyɛ wo papa wo nsa ntoma gu bi da hɔ anaa tissue da hɔ wode bɛpapa wo nsa yie wo papa wie a ansa no wasɔ krataa no mu no wabɔbɔ no sɛ wan papa wo nsa yie na wosɔ krataa no mu wo nsa no ink na ɛnwoyɛ no ɛbɛsan akɔ tim baby ɛtim a na ɛkyerɛ sɛ wato no mmienu na ɛkyerɛ sɛ wo ballot no ayɛ kwa afei nso wo wie a yɛbɛsan ama wo ballot paper.
John Dramani Mahama there on tour, just getting his reaction to the shake-up in Parliament. Kweku Asante is our parliamentary affairs correspondent. Let's cross over to him now live. The majority leader, now minority leader, took a swipe at Joe News for reporting facts. But fact is, in this game of numbers, they have lost. Kweku, what should we expect on the floor in coming days? Kweku, you have to position rightly for us to get your thoughts. We're just giving a sense of what we should expect in Parliament. We know that as a result of this shake-up in Parliament, the 4 seats declared vacant, there would have to be a reconstitution of most of the committees in Parliament. That is what we should expect. We heard from the likes of Okujesu Blakwa. He has given us a sense of what we should expect in coming days, that they would have to reconstitute some of these committees in Parliament. We'll take you back to Kweku Asante when we have better connection to him. But the Ministry of Education says the implementation of a new curriculum will not hamper smooth assimilation of topics taught at the senior high school level. Spokesperson for the Education Ministry, Kwesi Kwarteng, has been responding to fears by stakeholders that this new way gives limited time to teach the students. He spoke earlier on Newsdesk.
If you recall, particularly post-COVID, there has been efforts by the Ghana Education Service to harmonize our academic calendar, or if you like, say, streamline it to be able to reverse back to the old normal. And when I say old normal, I am essentially referring to the fact that in terms of, for instance, the time or duration where we write the WACC exams, that was May, June. But if you recall, consistently it's been around July, August. Even if you recall the recent one that we wrote this year, it was written in August, September. And if you look at the consequential effect or impact on that exercise alone, in terms of we writing it in September rather than the usual May, June, what essentially happened is that instead of producing the source or students to be able to feed to the universities, it's also not aligning or is incoherent with the university's academic calendar at the end of the day. Even beyond that, we will recall that in terms of the WACC or the WAEC that we are signatory as a member to, we write together with other West African states. It is important to highlight that it is only Ghana that as of now, we are still writing ours in August, September, or July, August, if we, want to put it that way. And as a result of that, essentially means that we may have to, pay extra monies to WAEC to be able to organize separate exams for us. So it comes with extra cost. So what the Ghana Education Service, of course, largely together with the Ministry of Education, has been doing over the years is to, set the tone to transit and reverse the academic calendar to the old normal that we know, so that we will have students writing their WASI or WAEC exams in May, June, and of course, they also taking up admissions at the universities in Imba as well.
Let's take you back to Parliament now. Hopefully, I have better connection to Kweku Asante. Kweku, what should we expect in coming days, especially as Alexander Afenyo-Markin has served notice that his side of the House will be boycotting sitting moving forward?
Majority in Parliament will take the right-hand side of the Speaker. That is the side reserved for the majority group in Parliament, and they will control proceedings. Of course, the minority, the NPP group, will be able to chair the business committee as well as lead government business because they are in government, and that is what the standing order says. But when it comes to the numbers game, they will not be able to carry out any government agenda, any government business without the say-so or without the collaboration of the MDC group, which is now the majority. The facts are that the standing orders are clear, that the majority group is the party or group of parties with the majority number of seats, and their leader is designated as the majority leader. As we speak, the NDC group have 136 MPs, which makes them the majority in the House. Until the Supreme Court vacates that decision taken by Alban Bagwen yesterday, that decision will stand and the NPP will be in the minority. Already, we've been hearing from NDC MPs who've been signaling what their business and game plan is going to be for the next few weeks, that they are going to be in the majority before the expiration of the 8th Parliament. Some of them even suggesting that it should table private members' motions, private members' bill, to reduce some taxes, including e-levy. Dr. Dominic Ayini and co. have been speaking about that. And so on Tuesday, when the House resumes, given the position that has now been taken by the NPP, we do not expect to see them on the floor, but the NDC MPs will turn up and perhaps do government business, including bills and other things. But the biggest loser, obviously, will be the government side because they can't push a number of the government business, bills, loans, tax waivers, and others that are on the other paper for now, for Tina.
Thank you, Kweku Asante. Away from Parliament now, the final spot in the National Science and Maths Quiz 1H stage has been claimed after a gripping tiebreaker contest between Zion College Amenfi SHS and Asin Manso SHS, all of whom finished with 40 points in their respective prelims. Zion College triumphs to secure the 81st and last spot in the next stage. Jacqueline Ansuma-Yeboah has more in the following report.
The 2024 National Science and Maths Quiz is heating up as 1A stage lineup is now complete with 42 preliminary winners, 31 seeded schools, and 8 top runner-ups. However, the fight for that coveted 81st spot didn't come easy. Zion College, Amenfi Senior High School, and Asin Manso Senior High all found themselves tied at 40 points each in their preliminary contest, forcing a tie-breaker.
I'm going to ask you 4 different questions, one from each subject area, and we'll go with the same rules. The first school that rings their bell will get the opportunity to answer. If the answer is incorrect and the second school rings, they answer. If the answer is incorrect, the third school can ring and they answer. So at the end of the 4 questions, we'll take the school with who has answered the highest number of questions. If at the end of that, all of you are the same, there have been 0 questions answered or just 1 question each, we'd have a 5th question which will break the tie. The first person to answer that question correctly goes through.
In the tiebreaker contest, it was Zion College that came out on top, earning their place among the top runner-ups. This win asked them to the group moving forward in the competition, making them the final school to qualify.
Find the potential energy of the object at its greatest height. Zion College.
640 joules.
That's correct. What name is given to the protective tissues that are formed by the cork cambium? Belled out. Okay. So Zion College goes through. Yeah, so the tie has been broken and Zion College qualifies for the 1A.
With the stage now set, the battle begins as the best of the best prepare to face off in what promises to be an exciting next phase. Eyes are locked on the 1A stage where intellectual sparks are sure to fly. For Joy News, I'm Jacqueline Ansuma Yaboa.
The 2024 National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with Gold PLC and supported by Pepsodent, JuPay, Prudential Life Insurance Ghana, and Better Malt. The broadcast of the 2024 National Science and Maths Quiz on Joy News is supported by NASCO, Vita Milk, Virtual Security Africa, Ace Medical Insurance, Built Financial Technologies, DBS Roofing, Syntex Tanks, Family Health Medical School, Chopbox Technologies, and Actions Secondary Technical Multimedia Institute of Ghana, DPS Pipes, and Wakana. Well, you should watch that on all our social media handles. Away from that, government says it is seeking to upscale its affirmative action drive with the inauguration of a national gender diversity task force. Chairman of the task force, Dr. Evans Agridako, says the team will strengthen women's power and increase their participation in decision-making process at all levels. Dr. Agridako also believes the National Gender Diversity Task Force will address gender barriers and foster systematic change within the civil service by promoting gender inclusion and diversity at all levels of leadership. There is more in this report.
Earlier this year, Parliament passed the Affirmative Action Act to promote gender equality and women empowerment in Ghana. A key objective of this act is to promote gender inclusion and diversity across all sectors of the economy. Government has augmented this with the formation of a National Gender Diversity Task Force with the theme Tackling Gender Barriers to Women's Leadership in Ghana's Public Sector. The project, implemented by Emerging Public Leaders EPL Ghana, will promote systemic gender inclusion and diversity within the public sector by influencing policy reforms. Juliet Amoy is Country Director of Emerging Public Leaders.
What we're hoping to do is look through desk researches and see how many women continue to rise, how many of them still continue to face barriers. And so our indicators are quite clear, if you'd like. They're quite clear on what we're looking out for. And so we don't think that there will be a problem with being able to monitor the work of the Gender Task Force as has been inaugurated today and the work that the subcommittees will be doing. So it will be quite easy to be able to track. We're looking at a 2-year program. We're hoping that the next steps that the head of civil service will help us to achieve would be to put together working committees that report to this gender task force that we've set up.
Chairman of the task force, Dr. Evans Agridako, says the team will strengthen women's power and increase their participation in decision-making processes at all levels.
It is only when we tap into the full potentials that the diversity brings that will make a nation that is able to tap into the full potentials of its diversity is much more enterprising. And I think that that is the way to go. We can maximize the full potentials of our people. The committee will also focus on capacity building by establishing female coaching and mentoring working groups within the sector ministries to offer mentorship and career advancement opportunities for all. Additionally, the task force would monitor and report on gender inclusivity, tracking progress, identifying gaps where they exist, and recommending corrective actions to enhance gender equity.
The National Gender Diversity Task Force seeks to address gender barriers and foster systemic change within the civil service by promoting gender inclusion and diversity at all leadership levels. Emefa Akosia Adeti's report, read to you.
Well, feuding parties in the chieftaincy dispute at Gimbani in the northeast region have agreed to lay down their arms and commit to peace. The peace agreement was sealed by the performance of blood ritual ceremony, an age-long customary right by the people of Bimoba and Konkomba peoples, which is performed to bring an end to conflict between two parties. Now, led by their respective heads, supporters and sympathizers of the two factions pledged to live together again in peace and harmony. Correspondent Ilyas Utanko reports.
Residents of Bengbani and its environs in the Yinjo-Naswani district of the Northeast region are celebrating the restoration of peace after months of recurrent violence between two Konkomba factions following an escalated chieftaincy disagreement. The community since March 2024 had been experiencing the escalation of violence, leading to destruction of properties and displacement of population. The disturbances were said to have been sparked by the attempts of the chief of the nearby community Bankurgu to enskin a youth chief in Bengbani. The chief and elders of Bengbani opposed the move, challenging the authority of the Bankurgu chief to make enskinment in their community. Following the disturbances, authorities in Nalirgu ordered the suspension of all traditional activities and deployed security forces to protect lives and properties. The situation disrupted the lives of the residents as many were forced to flee to live in the bushes. However, after many months of closed-door peace-building efforts by the Navrongo-Bolgatanga Catholic Diocesan Development Organization, the chiefs and parties have agreed to cease violent attacks and resort to the use of dialogue to address their differences. Speaking at the ceremony, President of the Northeast Regional Branch of the Konkomba Youth Association, Charles Ningarim, called on Konkombas nationwide to unite.
Today, Konkomba's enemy is poverty, not the Konkomba man. Today, Konkomba enemy is illiteracy, not the Konkomba man. Today, Konkomba enemy, it is the deliberate scheme of development against our community, not the Konkomba man.
A project officer at Nabokadu, Tifolo Zabolga, was also very hopeful of achieving lasting peace in the area.
Not been easy, but we thank God that the day that the Lord has chosen for us, and the day that at least peace is being brought back to Bengbani through this black barrier.
The district chief executive, Conlan Bitian, urged the people to protect the peace agreement.
We have buried the past, and everything is buried here. All that we can see among us as brothers and sisters.
For Joy News, Ilyas Sotanko reporting.
You're watching Joy News today. We'll be back with business news, sports news, and showbiz. Do stay tuned in.
Welcome to Business on Joy News today. My name is Winston Kaki, and now to our first business story. The year-on-year change in the index of industrial production for the second quarter of 2024 grew by 8.2%. By this, on average, production in the industry sector grew by also 8.2% in 2024. There is more in this report.
The index of industrial production measures changes over time in production volumes for the industry sector. According to the data, manufacturing grew by 8.3% in the second quarter of 2024, while mining and quarrying grew by 9.2% in the same period. Electricity and gas declined by 1.4%, while water supply, sewage, and waste management grew by 1.2%. The quarter-on-quarter change in the index of industrial production for second quarter of 2024 was 0.3%. This means that, on average, production in the industry sector grew by 0.3% in the second quarter of 2024 as compared to the first quarter of 2024.
Now moving on, are you looking for a complete residential facility which offers you all the amenities you can think of, including an industrial and office complex to make commuting from work to home convenient? Well, if you answered yes, then look no further than Apollonia City ahead of the Habitat Fair. My colleague Isaac Atase Nyako caught up with Yao Echampon Ejay, the Marketing and Communications Manager. Here's more.
Okay, so tell me about the Apollonia project.
Okay, so Apollonia City is a 2,325-acre mixed-use, fully serviced, master planned, and controlled development by a company called Rendeavor, who happen to be Africa's largest urban developers with over 30,000 acres of prime development across 5 countries. Now, building 7 cities from the ground up in 5 African countries, in Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Zambia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, what we're doing is building what we call a live, work, play community, which means that within the same space, we made provision for residential, for commercial and light industrial, and recreational spaces. Starting with residential, we're currently here at the Oxford. Now, the Oxford is one of 3 gated communities, fully built out gated communities here at Apollonia City. We have the Oxford, we have the Muse, and we have Bijou Homes. Bijou Homes is 120 units affordable housing that we built together with Ghana Home Loans. Here at the Oxford, we have 75 housing units made up of 2-bedroom, semi-detached, 2-bedroom detached, and 3-bedroom homes. Now, we spoke about live, work. Now, for work, we have Adumwa Place, our first commercial building over there, with offering 2,000 square meters of prime grade A office space for any companies out there that's looking for space to fit and set out. We have a 200-acre light industrial park for manufacturing companies that want to set out, who want to go into warehousing. Now, when it comes to recreational play, here we have our playground right here at the Oxford, where the children, after a hard day's work at school, can just come and have fun. For us, live, work, play is our definition of a complete life.
Tell me about your service plots.
Great. So at Apollonia City, we do not just offer fully built out homes. We also offer lands for people who want to build to their own specifications. Now, we have 2 types. We have fully serviced lands and semi-serviced lands. Our fully serviced lands is in an enclave that we refer to as Nova Ridge. The ideal Nova Ridge plot comes with access to water and electricity delivered plug and play to your plot. We're talking about fiber optic cables. We're talking about 24-hour security, solar powered street lights, the whole shebang, tarred roads delivered to your doorstep. That's the services that come with Nova Ridge plots, our definition of a fully serviced plot. Then we also have our semi-serviced plots that come in an enclave called Walla Park. Walla, as we know, is the Ghana word for life. So Walla Park is actually the park of life. Walla Park is a beautiful, serene enclave where we offer services to the entrance of the community. So we're bringing water, electricity to the entrance of the community, and then the respective property owners can tap from there onto their respective plot.
That'll be all for business. My name is Winston Taki. Up next is sports and showbiz.
Let's bring you sports now on Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullah Black. For Ghana to qualify to the African Cup of Nations, the Black Stars must win against Angola and Niger, and hope that Sudan will lose against Niger and Angola in the last round of matches that will play in November. Now, let's bring in the Joy Sports Invitational. We paid a visit to Escort Security, and they are making their debut in the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament. They believe they got what it takes to win all the medals that will be brought to the fore.
Well, it's rainy in the capital, Accra, and I find myself, some part of Accra. And this is a company that has taken part in the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament before. The last time we saw them, it was an amazing entry, and they came in all guns blazing. Today, I find myself here at their headquarters, and I'd like to come and have a chat with everybody. Come along with me. Okay, so do you notice all of these people? And it looks like nobody wants to smile. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. 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 Amazing stuff.
And if you want to sign up for the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament, head to myjoyonline.com, go to the sports page, and you can find a form there and download, or contact 05491269905, and we'll take you through the processes. Next week is the event, and you just have some few days away to be able to register to be part of the companies that will participate in this year's Joy Sports Invitational.
Well, that's how we wrap up the bulletin. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. If you check the showbiz section there, you get all our top entertainment stories for you for the week. But our lead story there, Supreme Court may not be able to override the Speaker's ruling on the 4 vacant seats, and that's coming from Professor Agbochi. You can go on myjoyonline.com to read that story. Many more stories there on our platform. My name is Faustina Safo. It's been a pleasure doing this with you. Hope to see you next week on Monday. Bye.